The Master's Mysteries, Tales of Magical Mastery, Episode 36. Senior, we were just talking about the old man in the cave who claimed to help Liao Fengyi and old Dao break the divine slaughter symbols on the Supreme Being's body and then reactivate the grand formation to suppress the Earth Demon. I can feel it. One of you is a descendant of the divine race. Then, a strong energy suddenly erupted from the old man's body, and when the golden light shone brightly, this power gradually gathered in his hands. In the hidden will of the heavens, this is the mission of our divine race. The power kept gathering, and it was unbelievable that an old man who had sat in the cave for thousands of years, neither human nor corpse, would possess such terrible powers. I entrust everything to you. Suddenly, a captivating brilliance shot out from the old man's eyes. Then he shouted loudly, and that powerful force instantly struck. Liao Fengyi and old Dao felt a powerful force brushing past them, carrying a fierce wind and rushing toward their backs. This force hit the stone wall behind the two, and the power was truly terrifying, creating several cracks on the wall. In the blink of an eye, the cracks kept expanding, and half of the stone wall was shattered, with debris falling and dust flying. After the debris fell, a dark stone cave big enough for two people to pass through was revealed, and it was unclear where it led to. Just as the two looked at the stone cave and didn't understand the old man's intentions, the voice of the old man sounded again from behind. Then a powerful force surged behind them, and a strong gust of wind pushed the two into the stone cave. Such is the will of heaven. Watching the figures of the two, the old man sighed again. Liao Fengyi and old Dao were pushed into the cave, and their bodies ran uncontrollably in the mountain cave, completely out of their control. This cave seemed endless, and the two felt like they had run out a distance of meters, yet they couldn't see the end. The force from behind continued to push them forward. Leaving aside Liao Fengyi and old Dao running in the cave, let's go back to the main hall of the Paixian sect. Today, the Paixian sect surprisingly didn't hold any worship activities. The entire hall only had the sect master and the black-robed people accompanying him. 1,000 creatures have been thrown into the abyss, and the demonic energy is flourishing. At this moment, the two were looking at the abyss with excitement. The terrestrial demons are about to emerge. They had already sensed the surge of demonic energy in the abyss, and the grand formation had become very weak, unable to suppress the demons below any longer. That fat abbot was right. At this moment, a pair of red eyes gradually lit up in the abyss. Shortly after, scratching sounds came from the darkness, and several demons emerged from the shadows. More red lights shone from the abyss, and the scratching sounds intensified, making people's scalps tingle. At this moment, the sect master of the Paixian sect's eyes also lit up, staring excitedly at the abyss. All terrestrial demons, the world's lowly dogs, will become our feast. Suddenly, he stretched out his arms, roared loudly, and looked like a demon leader. Just as he was shouting loudly with excitement, a loud noise came from one side of the main hall. The two turned to look and found that a huge hole had been blasted through the side wall of the main hall. In the dust raised by the explosion, two figures appeared. Leave it to you. In fact, Liao Fengyi and old Dao had already planned it in advance. If they encountered obstacles, they would continue to move forward. And if old Dao was also blocked, they would release Ahu to take advantage of his agility and catch the enemy off guard. At this moment, the two rushed out of the stone cave. While the sect master of the Paixian sect was still in shock, they rushed toward the corpse of Wu Xu, intending to remove the divine slaughter symbol. No, their target is the corpse immortal. Everything happened so quickly, catching everyone off guard. But the black-robed man's response was not slow. Just as the two were about to approach the ancient corpse, he shot out. Liao Fengyi noticed a claw coming at him from the side. The claw came down, and Liao Fengyi quickly stabilized his body, avoiding the attack. At this point, Liao Fengyi also became fierce. He held the divine weapon left by his master, Old Dao, and slashed down. The black-robed man's movements were agile and flexible. He evaded the attack with a sidestep, and the two engaged in a battle inside the cave, evenly matched. However, this also delayed Liao Fengyi and prevented him from seizing the opportunity. Dao Master, it's up to you. Although Liao Fengyi was entangled by the black-robed man, he was still paying attention to the situation on Old Dao's side. As he thought of stepping back to help, he shouted to Old Dao, asking him to go ahead and remove the divine slaughter symbol. Don't worry. Old Dao was full of tricks and didn't need Liao Fengyi's reminder. He rushed out of the stone cave without stopping and headed straight for the stone platform where the ancient corpse was sitting. At this moment, the obese sect master of the Paixian sect noticed that Old Dao was approaching the stone platform, and his complexion changed. He angrily roared. Trying to succeed, Old Dao, who was approaching the stone platform, saw the sect master getting close and was about to stop him. Unexpectedly, the sect master's neck suddenly extended. Damn, it's a monster. Old Dao turned his head and saw an ugly head protruding from the sect master, resembling a long snake. His chubby body flew up due to the elongated neck, which scared him, and he immediately exclaimed. However, at this moment, the two were not the same as they were when they first entered the Funia mountain. They were determined, and Old Dao gritted his teeth. Lowering his body, he charged toward the sect master. Dao Master, how are you? Although Liao Fengyi was entangled by the black-robed man, he had been paying attention to Old Dao's situation. Just as he was about to step back to help, the black-robed man suddenly tore off his black robe. Then he swayed his body, unexpectedly revealing a pair of wings. I hope you can handle yourself. Liao Fengyi warily watched the black-robed man in front of him, who, after removing his robe, revealed a demonic body like that of a demon. Before Liao Fengyi could recover from the shock, the man had already launched an attack. In a flash, a black shadow flashed, and a sharp claw aimed at him. Liao Fengyi quickly sidestepped, and the sharp claw barely grazed his nose. As the claw missed, another claw quickly came forward, and Liao Fengyi's evasion was slightly slow, resulting in a cut on his arm. On the other hand, Old Dao had broken through the sect master's obstruction, but as he turned to charge up the stone platform, the sect master wouldn't give him a chance and lunged at him from behind. You damn monster. Old Dao twisted his body and looked at the head that resembled a snake, which had extended from the sect master. However, Old Dao wasn't concerned about that right now. He reached into his robe and took out his magical artifact, the soul-capturing bell, shaking it toward the sect master. What would the soul-capturing bell be effective against the demon-possessed fat abbot? Old Dao wasn't sure, but the situation was urgent, and he had to give it a try. Before he knew it, the sound of the divine artifact had an effect on the demonized sect master. His legs stumbled, and he fell to the ground. Seeing that he succeeded, Old Dao felt extremely happy, but he also knew that it wasn't the time to dawdle. He took the opportunity to run, rushing toward the stone platform where the ancient corpse was. However, the sect master was still a demon, and the sound of the soul-capturing bell only had limited effects. In a flash, he regained his senses and pounced on Old Dao again from behind. This pounce was too quick, and Old Dao couldn't evade in time. He felt a powerful force coming from behind, and he was pushed down to the ground. Ahu! The obese sect master pressed Old Dao to the ground, but Old Dao struggled to reach out, shouting Ahu's name. As soon as Old Dao shouted, Ahu, who had been hiding in his sleeve, emerged in a flash. It's up to you. In fact, Liao Fengyi and Old Dao had already planned it. If they encountered obstacles, they would continue forward. If Old Dao was also blocked, They would release Ahu to take advantage of his small size and agility to catch the enemy off guard. Unexpectedly, this tactic worked. The sudden change caught everyone off guard, and everyone stared nervously at Ahu. The entire hall fell silent, and one could hear a pin drop, because Ahu had successfully jumped onto the ancient corpse.